The sandwich, one of humanity's greatest inventions. Portable, customizable, and available in every petrol station on Earth. And somehow, it's British. But where did the sandwich actually come from? Was it truly invented by an 18th century gambling addict? And how did putting things between bread become one of the most important foods on Earth? Now, technically, the sandwich wasn't really invented at all. Humans have been putting food on bread for thousands of years. The Romans did it, the Middle East did it, pretty much every civilization looked at bread and thought, what if plate but edible? In medieval Europe, thick slabs of stale bread called trenchers were used as plates for meat and stew. Once the bread had soaked up all the juices, poorer people would eat it afterwards. But the modern sandwich, specifically filling between two slices of bread, is usually credited to one man. And like many British historical figures that we remember today, he was rich, he was eccentric, and his famous moment allegedly came avoiding his responsibilities.
Meet John Montagu, the 4th Earl of Sandwich.
Yes, that was his real title. The town of Sandwich in Kent already existed, and aristocrats often took their names from places they owned. Now, according to legend, somewhere around 1962, Montagu was in the middle of an extremely long gambling session. And rather than stop to eat properly, he asked the servants to bring him meat tucked between two slices of bread. This allowed him to continue gambling without getting grease all over the cards. Bring me portable beef immediately, the gambling cannot stop. Apparently, other people at the table began ordering. The same as sandwich. The same as sandwich. The same as sandwich.
The concept of a rich, aristocratic Brit sitting at a table gambling, screaming for more portable beef is a really nice and romantic story. Although the origins do come reportedly from a Frenchman. And back then, they weren't to be trusted. We'd been at war for a little while. We were going to be at war for another long while on and off. And so, historians doubt whether this story is true. And yet, it is still attributed to him. The gambling den is the thing that is called into question, and whether, seeing as he was the first Lord of the Admiralty, the chances are he was actually pulling long hours sat at a desk, didn't want to get greasy fingers on his important paperwork. Gambler, workaholic, we will never know. But what we do know is that we're left with these.
The sarnie truly became essential during Britain's Industrial Revolution. Before factories, many people worked near home and could stop for meals. But industrial cities changed everything. Workers needed food that was cheap, portable, quick, and filling. Suddenly, bread wasn't just bread anymore, it became a delivery system. Salt beef, cheese, ham, pickles, whatever could survive being shoved into a cloth bag and carried around smoky Victorian cities. And because Britain industrialised and colonised faster than most other countries, we accidentally helped export sandwich culture around the world. This, in hindsight, might be one of our most successful exports ever. Sandwiches and apologising. Sorry. But whilst workers were eating practical sandwiches, the upper class took things in an entirely different direction. The Victorians looked at the sandwich and thought, yes, but what if smaller? This gave us the delicate afternoon tea sandwich. Tiny, crustless little rectangles filled with cucumber, egg, salmon, or watercress. The cucumber sandwich in particular became a symbol of upper-class British life, partly because cucumbers were expensive to grow in Britain at the time, and so serving cucumber sandwiches was basically Victorian flex culture. Most important to note here is that they removed the crusts because apparently chewing corners was beneath the upper classes.
And many years later, this was born, the meal deal pre-packed sandwich. Up until the 80s, fresh sandwiches were available in shops. But as shop chains became a thing and the commercialisation of every store in the UK became a thing and the death of the family business became a thing, these rose to power. This, for those who are not aware from the shores of England, is a meal deal sandwich pack. Two rather obnoxiously uninteresting dry triangle sandwiches that you can buy in cooperation with crisps and a drink for about £3.75. Interestingly, things come in waves, and we're actually seeing a slight decline in the sandwich as the lunch of choice, as rice dishes and pasta dishes as ready meals in these same stores that peddle these are available, which is somewhat of a sadness, but then again, maybe not. I say that because emotional connection and convenience are not the same thing. Nobody has an emotional connection with a meal deal. What we're really looking for here is all of those classic British sandwiches to come back. The BLT, a proper BLT, not the one in the box. A chip butty, even a burger could be considered a sandwich. More tasty creations. British food sometimes can be beige, but the sandwich I'm voting for as the nation's best export, and in fact, Britain's national dish. There has been no greater thing in the world than a sandwich. Bread with stuff inside, limited only by your own imagination. I love sandwiches. The end.